Podcast with Arthur, Nikki, Nicole. People ask me all the time why I do what I do. My vision is to shine a light on everyday people, great people, so that we all can win. Hello. How you doing today?
Very good. Very good.
Awesome. So for everybody that do not know who Miss Peach Grayson is today, please let us know who you are.
I am basically your typical middle aged woman. I worked in the healthcare industry for the last 30 years and been battling menopause for many, many years, unfortunately, like the rest of us, and decided one day that there wasn't enough information out there. It was a subject that we don't talk about. It's hush hush, even though every one of us goes through this. And some reason we feel the need to go through it in silence. And so it was important to me to get some information out there for every other woman like me.
Absolutely. Menopause is a silent situation that it just pops up one day and you're hot one minute, you're cold the next minute, and you're like moody. So it's a lot of things that people don't know about menopause that they should know. And absolutely. I don't really know anything about menopause. I just know what it, does to me. So it's definitely a good topic to talk about. So is that what inspired you to write that book?
Yes. I lost my mom when I was very young. And so I didn't have her to ask the questions. And I'm not sure, though, if she had been around, if I would have asked the questions. It seems like just something that we don't really talk about. I looked for some literature, and there were some other books on the market, some of them 400 and 500 pages long. And I thought, I don't want to sit and read 500 pages of some scientific BS. I just want to know the ins and outs.
Right.
Am I feeling like I'm going crazy for a specific reason? Am I really going crazy? Just basic information. And so the book kind of launched from there, and it's a comical book. It kind of intertwines humor with the whole dark-sided part of menopause, because it's not a great subject. Nobody really wants to talk about it. We don't want to talk about how we have night sweats and we have hot flashes, and our husbands and boyfriends or any loved one, they surely don't want to talk about it. So it was
Right.
really just a way to have a conversation, to bring some humor to it, so that myself and other women could have something easy to reference, to go,
Right.
oh, all right, I get that. Yeah, I feel like that. Or yes, that happened to me. And so all that was really menopause. Joint pain is one thing that people don't really think is part of menopause, but it is. And so we go to the doctor and we think we have arthritis. We think we have this or that and all these different things. And all of it ends up coming down to, it's likely, not always, but likely related to menopause and our hormone fluctuations. And so I wanted to write something that was an easy read, something that we could read and laugh and joke and actually get some information from.
Wow. I did not know that joint pain was connected with menopause. Now that's interesting.
There's so many things that are all part of that, decrease in our estrogen, decrease in our progesterone, and it creates just havoc on our bodies. It could be thinning hair, it could be these weird skin changes. All of a sudden, my skin feels like it's an alligator, and I've not been one. I didn't put moisturizer on my face, every day since I was 13. I was never really good at that kind of self-care. I didn't wear makeup, so I just washed my face with soap and water for 40 years and thought it was going to be fine. And
Right.
now sometimes I'll put my hand on my face and go, what is that? It's like an alligator. And
Wow.
then, random hairs popping up where they don't belong. My eyelashes, I've lost at least half of my eyelashes, and my hair is about as thin as it has ever been in my whole life. And it's just weird. It's weird that hormones play such a vital role in everything. Even our digestion changes
Right.
during menopause.
Wow. I've been experiencing all of those things that you just said, and I did not know that menopause was the reason. Wow. So what are like the early signs of menopause that women should look out for?
I think you'll see perimenopause signs showing up in women as early as their 30s. And
Hmm.
it can be, changes in your temperature, the hot flashes, the night sweats. And sometimes we just think, oh, we were washing dishes and we overexerted and we're hot. And so you take your jacket off or whatever it might be. But I think the hot flashes are probably the first thing that women talk about noticing.
Oof.
Looking back, you go back and you think, well, I've had some major hormone changes or major changes in emotions. And prior to menopause, it's all, chalked up to PMS. Oh, it's PMS. Oh, it's that time of the month. It's that, it's this.
Hmm.
So sometimes you don't even realize you're in the midst of the early stages of menopause until you go back and you look. And that's kind of how the book is designed. The main character writes a journal, one journal per year. And after about 8 or 10 years, she goes back and she looks at these journal entries and goes, I was probably in perimenopause, for the last 8 years and didn't even realize it.
Hmm.
Look
Wow.
back,
So,
what
so
happens.
wow. So what is the now I know I think that I'm gonna say I think in my 30s I started experiencing like the hot flashes. So
Yeah.
what is like the earliest time that a woman can go through menopause?
If it's natural, typically the earliest is in your 30s. Of course, everybody's journey is different, and you may have some women saying that they have experiences in their late 20s, but typically it's going to be the late 30s, early 40s, where the average woman will start to notice the changes in a monthly cycle,
Mhm,
irregularity, things like the hot flashes, the
mhm,
rage, irritability, all the different things that come with it. And unfortunately, it's not a oh, okay, I'm in the middle of menopause and, I'll be fine in 2 weeks or 2 months. A lot of times it's 10 years down the road. And then in the end, I think we come out on the other side as different people. I think I'm a
right.
different woman today than I was 10 years ago. And I'm pretty sure I'll never go back to who that person was.
I can definitely agree. I can definitely agree. It does change your whole mindset. It changes your mind, your everything. It changes
Yes.
about you after going through those stages because you go through so many transitions of being really cold. Like I've been in points where I've had the fan going and the heater at the same time. I,
Yeah.
I mean, it's crazy that it takes your body through those many, that kind of change. I'm cold, but I'm real hot. So it's like, wow. But I didn't know the joint pain and I know the irritability comes with it, but all the other things that are associated with it, I never knew that.
Yeah. Unfortunately, there's a lot. And you go to a doctor, and most of the time they just chalk it up to, oh,
Mhm.
you're going through menopause, get over it. And
Right.
and a lot of women, they're just not successful getting over it. Some women don't seem to have it as bad. Some women seem to have it much worse,
Mhm.
and everybody experiences different symptoms. You might have one woman who really has never had a hot flash in her life, but yet she has night sweats every time she gets in bed.
Mhm.
She's hot and cold and hot and cold, and you wake up in the middle of the night. And you
Mm.
get somebody else who has major depression, and they end up having to take some kind of antidepressant, whereas other women never have that experience. And it's so broad that it's hard to treat because everybody has a different experience. And then
Right.
unfortunately, I think male doctors tend to just brush it off like, well, this is a natural part of aging. And it
Mm.
is, it's definitely a natural part of aging, but it doesn't mean that we can't do things to help with the symptoms in the process of that aging.
Right. Would you recommend that women take medication for it, or is that something that could help them on the journey?
I think it's an individual decision. There is hormone replacement therapy, which is an HRT, and there's a lot of controversy between that. And so you'll have some women that will absolutely never even consider it, other women who take it and think that it's a lifesaver. There's lots of natural supplements. Magnesium is a really big thing that you will find a lot of women in menopause can benefit from just a supplement of magnesium. So there's lots of different things. There's even a new medication on the market that's not a hormone that treats hot flashes, which I haven't actually tried, but I was willing to. At some point they get so bad that it's like, okay, now I think I'm willing to see what's out there.
Right. Right. They do those hot flashes. Who and they come on so sudden.
And, it depends on what situation you're in, because sometimes it can be incredibly embarrassing. You're in the middle of work or a meeting and you get this just flushed feeling over you and you start sweating and, sweat balls up on the middle of your lip.
Hmm.
And it's embarrassing because you're with a group of other people. And if you're with a group of women who've had that, they
Right.
completely just ignore it. They know exactly what's going on. But you
Right.
get with a group of men or younger women that don't know what's going on, and they look at you like, "Are you okay? Do you need medical
Right.
attention?" You're like, "I really just need you to ignore me. I'm fine." And you're like going on and on and on.
Like, phew. Yeah, I know. I know that feeling. I've been in situations like that too. And it can be very embarrassing to come over you suddenly. And people are
Yes.
looking at you like, what's wrong with you? You okay? You know. But is this the first book that you wrote about menopause? Or are there any other books that you have out there?
This is the first of a book of three series, and they're all three geared towards menopause. The first one, Let's Talk Menopause, You're Not Crazy, literally just published on Thursday, and then the ebook published on Friday. So it is brand spanking new. The second book in the series is Let's Talk Menopause, Fact versus Fiction. And it's a little bit more straightforward for those readers that don't like all the sarcasm, because the first book, it's chock full of sarcasm, which is pretty much my personality. But the second book is really geared towards women who really just want the facts. Just tell me
Right.
what it is. Don't put your little, humorous spin on it. I just want to know the information. And then the
Right.
third book is called Let's Talk Menopause, A Man's Guide to Understanding Her BSC Level, which
Nice.
it's geared towards men, ideally, that want to understand kind of what their loved ones are going through, whether it's a wife or a girlfriend, or even, a mother, whoever it might be that's experiencing the phase of menopause. There seems to be a lot of men out there that they do want to understand, because
Right.
they're as clueless as we are. And so it's a sarcastic kind of funny guide for men, because I figured men aren't going to read a book that has any kind of science about menopause, and they don't want to hear half of the words. So it's a little bit different, but again, it's my goal was to reach all of the readers,
Right.
those that just want the information, those that want a little laugh, maybe the men that are out there that actually want to know. So anybody that's interested, there's a book out there, hopefully, that is geared towards them and what their reading style is.
So what message do you hope to convey to your audience, and who are you targeting specifically besides women? Who are you targeting as far as your book?
I think the target age would be 30 to 80, female. That would be my target audience. And ideally, my message is you're not alone. Everything that you're feeling, there is somebody out there that's going through it right now, yesterday, and tomorrow. Because I think that sometimes, since we don't talk about it, we kind of feel alone. We feel like we're
Mhm.
going a little stir crazy. We're struggling in our relationships. We're struggling at work, whatever we're dealing with. And since we're not talking about it, then we feel alone. And the reality is, we're not. Every single woman, if you live long enough, you will go through menopause. There is no escaping it.
Yes.
So we might as well start talking about it, sharing our stories, and helping one another understand, helping one another cope, so that we can all get through it and get to the other side without killing somebody.
Exactly. So have you thought about doing a audio book for it?
I have. The book is set as a British woman, which is a little, it just kind of morphed this way. And so I've kind of wondered if I can hire somebody. Obviously, they've got to have that British accent, because that's kind of how the book is written, in that English kind of sarcasm. But I think it would be great, because I like audiobooks. I like them better than reading, and I think I'm at an age where I look at a book, or I look at a Kindle or any kind of electronic, and after about 30 minutes, my eyes are just cross-eyed.
Exactly.
and then I have a headache. And so I really have enjoyed the audiobooks. So I think it would make a great audiobook.
Because now today I'm told, as an author myself, that people are more geared to audiobooks than they are the actual book. But me personally, I actually like to have that book in my hand and be able to sit down and relax. But the younger generation, they want to just ride and listen to something. So that, I may consider something like that later in life, but they can be expensive though.
Yes, it's definitely not a cheap endeavor, but the goal is to reach as many readers out there, and even readers that do like the audiobooks.
Right, right. So, what do you think is the major difference between an author and a writer?
I think a writer is probably more me. I have a story and I want to tell the story. Sometimes I struggle with how to express that story and lay it out. An author is probably better at bringing that story to life. I collaborated with formatters and editors and other people that helped me bring my story to life. Because in the part of menopause, sometimes brain fog is a real issue, and sometimes
Mm.
coming up with the words or expressing myself is not as clear as it should be. And so,
Right.
that's something that I have to work through. And I may not even have my definitions right. But to me, that's kind of it. That the writer is the person out there trying to get that story alive. The author truly brings it to life.
I agree. I love that. I love that definition of that. I do. But a writer, most people, to me, my definition is a writer writes it down and they may forget about it and not really go back to it. But an author puts it out there for the world to hear it, to read it, because they want that story to be heard. So I agree. I like
Yeah,
your
that makes
definition
perfect
too.
sense.
So, what do you hope that will happen with this book launch? What do you want to see come from it?
What I would like to see is women everywhere feeling comfortable having a conversation about a taboo subject. You know, I think if there is enough stirring on the book and enough people talking about the book, then maybe you can have a conversation with your friend about menopause that doesn't
Mhm.
seem so taboo, that you can express yourself and say to anybody, whether it be a loved one or a stranger, this is what you're going through or this is what you're feeling. I I think I just want there to be enough stirring of the pot that
Right,
we find it's okay to talk about these things.
right.
We
So
talk about
have you?
everything else, we talk about all
Mhm.
kinds of diseases and parts of life. Everybody talks about a man's midlife crisis.
Exactly.
But when
Exactly.
it comes to women, I think that we just have this sensation that we have to just suffer in silence, and we don't.
Right, right, absolutely. Have you thought about doing some public speaking events where you can bring more awareness to it?
I have. I am not a very good public speaker. This being my first engagement creates a lot of anxiety, but I do think it would be a great thing.
It
The
is.
more we talk about it, the better it's going to be for everybody. There's truly no harm.
Absolutely, because I believe you would do well in that, because there are a lot of women out there suffering and don't know why they're suffering or why they're going through certain things, and it would actually be a good thing to know the symptoms that they're going through, like the joint pains that you don't know that even exist. So it's a lot of women that don't really know what their body is going through with menopause. So I think you getting out
Yeah,
there to speak about it would be great.
yeah. I would agree. I would agree. I just have to get my nerves up.
You got this. You got this. You're going to be a great advocate for this because you're very knowledgeable about it and you can get that information out there. Plus, you got a book. You got a series about it, and you can be comical with it. So it can bring a whole lot of light on this situation, like you say. Not many people talking about it. So hey, so do you plan to launch another book or write another book after this series?
I haven't gotten that far. Once I get this series out and well promoted, we'll kind of see where it goes from there. Although I have had a few people make suggestions, so we'll see.
Okay. So did you go through the self-publishing route or did you do it traditionally?
I did the self publishing. It seems to be a little quicker, and patience is not my best virtue. So I went and did the self publishing myself.
Okay, so that I did self-publishing too, and normally with self-publishing, you have to put in a lot of footwork, but I mean it's worth it because then people will know who that person is behind that book, which
Yeah.
makes it a little bit more personable, you know. So I mean, traditional publishing, I think it's okay for most, but I think it can be very expensive if you
Yes.
go that route. If that
Yeah.
makes
Even
sense.
the self publishing, turned out to be more expensive than I thought.
Really?
But I think it's worth it. I think there's, cost benefit ratio there, and it's well worth it.
Yes, definitely, because you get to build your own brand for yourself by yourself. So it makes it more, I guess, your audience will look at it like, okay, she's doing this by herself. She's independent. But it's going to make it harder. It's going to be a longer journey, but it's going to be worth it. Definitely. So I want you to tell everybody what's next for you and where they can purchase this awesome book from and where they can follow your journey.
Right now, what's next for me is just getting these three books out and published. They are the first book of the series is on Amazon. It's in paperback and an ebook through Kindle. I am going to work on getting into Barnes and Noble and some of the other platforms that are available. Um, and I don't remember your other question. Brain fog,
um
of course.
where they can find your book and what's next for you and just a little bit of advice to those writers that are trying to get off their out there and try to start their writing journey.
So, like I said, Amazon right now has the paperback and the Kindle. I'm working on getting these three books up and running and available to everybody out there. And advice to all the writers out there that haven't started, haven't finished, you just have to literally make it happen. It's a choice. We all have choices, and we seem to find time to do what's really important for us. We Everybody says, "Oh, I don't have time for this. I don't have time for that." But we seem to make time for the things that are truly important. So if your writing is important to you, make the time, make it happen.
Awesome, I love that advice. I always say the first step is the start.
Yep.
You got to start. I mean, you got to believe in yourself along the way too, but you have to pick up that pen, pick up that pencil, write it, and then you got to put it in motion.
Yeah.
So I agree. I definitely agree. Well, thank you so much, Miss Peach Grayson, for coming on Breaking the Silence. I really appreciate you breaking your own silence. You broke your own silence and you didn't even know it because you have anxiety. So you did good. So I already
Well, I
know.
appreciate it. Yeah, I really appreciate you having me on.
So that's the first step. Now, you took the first step to come on Breaking the Silence. Now it's time to get out there and advocate about menopause and let all these women know what it's all about.
Will do.
Will do. And thank you so much, everyone out there, for tuning into a very interesting episode today about menopause. So, all those women out there that are going through these, not only these hot flashes, these cold flashes, joint pain, mood swings, it is so much more than just being hot and cold. So, if you want to know more on a comic level, make sure you go purchase her book on Amazon and find out what's really going on with our bodies because we need to know these things. A lot of times people don't have that guidance or they don't want to have that conversation with their mother. So, this is the time where you can go purchase a book that's going to tell you everything that you need to know and at the same time give you a good laugh. So, I hope you enjoyed another episode of Breaking the Silence and I hope that you will continue to reach your dreams. Start. I can't say that enough. Start. Build you a network that's going to get you to the next level. Be the star that you always dreamed of being. It's not too late. It's never too late to follow your dreams. It's never too late. And believe in yourself. I know Miss Peach Grayson is going to be great. She's going to get out there and she's going to be an advocate for menopause. She's going to lose all those nerves and she's going to get in front of these people and tell them everything that they need to know. Because trust me, there's women out there that need and want to know what is going on with their bodies. So I wish her nothing but success on this journey. And to the top, my friends, to the top. Enjoy the rest of your day. And tune in next time at 3:30 p.m. with Reverend James Glover, one of the members of the Winner's Circle, back on the stage again to talk about him being nominated Podcast of the Year. Yes, I got to vote soon as I get off here because they're going to win it. Real Talk Money is going to win Podcast of the Year. We're going to speak it in existence, period. They got it. So y'all tune in at 3:30 to find out a little bit more about my friend, my fam, my podcast cousin, as I call him, at 3 p.m. And have a wonderful day. And I'll see you at 3:30. Thank you so much to everyone that has supported me on this journey. I really appreciate everything that you have done thus far. Words will never be able to express the gratification that I have within my heart. Continue to like, share, and subscribe.